Fulvic acid levels traditionally, because we were eating farmed foods that were made with organic fertilizers, manure and different things that we're farming back into it, green fertilizers and stuff. So the soils weren't poisoned, but now the soils are poisoned and they're dead. And so they don't produce fulvic acid, things that you need. And so consequently, our bodies are, that the exposure we had to that has plummeted. And consequently, there's a lot of health problems from that. But I use that, and it has the same thing, it's similar, I'm sure, to the product you use.
Right. What was the name of it again?
Supreme Fulvic.
Okay.
And it has, it's a drink, and it doesn't taste bad. Doesn't taste good, but.
He's lying, it doesn't taist good.
I knew I shouldn't have brought it up.
There's
You're
a
a
link,
heckler.
there's a link to all these on your website.
Yeah, on our website, on doomsdaybookofmedicine.com, you can find all that stuff. But fulvic acid is phenomenal for you, and if you drink these drinks, it'll provide all the minerals and trace elements that you need. You could use Quintone's marine plasma, does the same thing, or Supreme Fulvic. But I would strongly suggest that you do that every day of your life, just to provide your body with all the minerals and trace elements. Because medicine has no idea what these trace elements do.
If that's the case, and they tell you you're vitamin D deficient, and they want to give you 50,000 units of vitamin D2, which is for something other than.
Right, you D3.
That's right,
Right.
that's supposed to be D3.
Right,
Which is for humans, but anyway,
right.
what would you recommend?
I use a lot of 50,000 units of vitamin D3 myself for
Yeah.
patients, and especially because
Yeah, But they don't give you D3, they give you D2.
you can get D3, but yeah, right. A lot of times they try to push D2
Yeah.
in.
Now, when that doesn't work, they tell you to have to take 100,000.
Right. Well, sunlight's the best way to get it.
That's right, so there's no other thing you can do
Yeah,
besides that vitamin?
that's the best way to do it, but it's been my experience that people take vitamins wrong. No one knows how to take vitamins. Vitamins come in two types, fat soluble and water soluble. Soluble means what they dissolve in. All vitamins are fat soluble except for vitamin B and vitamin C. Those two are water soluble, so those you can take on an empty stomach. I have patients come in all the time, say new patients will come in, I'll interview them and say, Doc, I know everything about vitamins, taken them for 40 years. Oh, really? What do you do? When do you take them? Breakfast? Do you eat breakfast? No, I take them in the morning or I take them at bedtime. I go, nothing in your stomach? No, I just take water with it or something. I said, I have bad news, for 40 years you've been peeing them out. You haven't absorbed any of them. It's all about absorption. That's why it's key to intestinal health is so strong. All these things work together because it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb from what you eat. But you don't want to eat foods that have toxins in them, because now your body has to work to detoxify them as you go. And so it's a double whammy. You want it to absorb nutrients and nurture it, and give it foods that it recognizes, that knows what they are. Not these Franken foods that we try to give us. Yes.
Yeah.
How does one go from taking piles of medications through to taking fewer medications? You say the soil is depleted, so our food doesn't have what we need. Not everybody gardens.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what he was saying. You can drink that Supreme Fulvic or Quintone's marine plasma and get all the minerals you need and trace elements. But in addition to that, your body needs several things. There's what's called the essential fatty acids, and there's essential amino acids. Amino acids are building blocks of proteins. There are no essential carbohydrates. Your body doesn't really need carbohydrates. It really doesn't, because it can make those from the fats and the proteins. But I'm not saying carbs are bad for you. Natural carbs are good for you. I like, for example, an apple is way better for you than applesauce, which is way better for you than apple juice. Because the apple has phytonutrients in it. Phyto means plant-based. It's filled with plant-based nutrients, filled with fiber, it's filled with other things. So you eat it, your body recognizes it, it can absorb it. Now you refined it down to applesauce. Applesauce is certainly not bad for you, but now you're eliminating a lot of the good things in it. The skin of the apple has a lot of good things in it. And then now you refine it to apple juice, and I get bad news for you, fruit juices aren't good for you. Fruit juice is just sugar and water. There's some nutrients in it and some vitamins, but not much. And you pay a high price for it because that spikes your sugars. And when your sugar spikes, your insulin spikes, and you get obese, because insulin protects the fat you have and causes production of new fat. So you got to take your vitamins with fat, i.e. with dinner or some substantial food in your stomach, or you're not absorbing it. And it drives me crazy because GNC in those stores should have neon signs saying this to you. Take it, but they don't. People take them wrong all the time. That poor lady in the back's been so patient.
What can you tell us
tight junction failure in the
Intestine?
intestines and the nanoparticles that they're putting in everything.
Once again, those nanoparticles penetrate across blood-brain barriers, across all kinds of stuff that are not good for you. The intestinal mucosa is different than most other cells. Most cells require glucose. The intestinal mucosa requires glutamine to live. And so what happens is those tight junctions, when they get damaged by toxins and bad food that we're eating and stuff, and also by damage to the microbiome, the flora, the bacteria the probiotics in your gut, that's there for a reason. You know, there's 10 times more bacterial cells in your body than human cells. The outnumber is 10 to 1. And without them, you would die in a short time. They're on your skin, they're in your nasal passage, they're in your vagina, they're everywhere, and they're good for you. But you have to, we're realizing more and more that human health is a symbiosis between us and bacteria together to work. And, you know, in just the last couple of years, people are catching on to it. There's probiotics they're putting out and stuff. I use a probiotic called BSL number 3. BSL was developed in Italy where me and Kathy went to school, so we really like it. But it's it is a fabulous thing. It's the strongest, most potent probiotic on the market. It has 250 billion per packet per capsule. Usually 10, 5 billion, and it has 8 different types. You want bifidobacteria, you want different ones in there that are beneficial for you. Because what they do is they recolonize in your gut, and it heals the gut and gets rid of leaky gut syndrome. Leaky gut syndrome causes all these allergies that people are having and stuff. And people say, oh, I never had allergies in my life. Then they're in their 40s, and all of a sudden they're sneezing and allergic to everything. It's because in their gut, the gut spaces open up. And normally, the gut looks like a shag rug almost. It has little villi going up, which is a huge surface area they can absorb things on. But between them, usually nothing can get in there except digested particles. The bacteria would first digest them, pass it on to the villi, and then absorb it into your body. And so this bacteria work great for you. They add organic acids and different things to you that your body needs. But once that you're not digesting well, and once those tight borders open up, large food particles go through that are undigested. And your body doesn't recognize it. It looks at that and thinks it's a foreign thing, not a food. And so it attacks that. And a lot of times the particles they're attacking have similar structure to things in your body, and you wind up getting autoimmune diseases that all start in the gut. Every one of them starts in the gut, except the hereditary. You know, but that's where it is. That's where they can be cured, in the gut. But you have to seal the gut, and you have to get that way. I mean, C. diff infections, for example, have been deadly for years. I mean, and the antibiotics are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. More ulcerative colitis, more Crohn's disease, all these things are coming about. They're inflammatory bowel disease, and they happen because of the inflammation in the gut, because the gut isn't healed. And you can heal it by healing the microbiome first, when you have good probiotics in there. But those probiotics have to be fed, they're alive. So you have to give prebiotics with it. You have to give right food with it. You have to give food that it can recognize. Vegetables, fruit, yogurt, things like that. These bacteria ferment those, produce the good things that you need, and heal your gut. What they're doing now is fascinating. They're using fecal transplants to cure C. diff and ulcerative colitis and Crohn's. And I've been arguing with you, they're like, oh, that can't work. It works great. Mayo Clinic has 100% success rate. And you never hear that, right? I mean, every time you hear, right, 100%, you never hear that for C. diff infection by treating them with fecal transplants. Just taking feces, as gross as it sounds, from a healthy donor, spouses, whatever, and mix it up, and they and it works. I'm telling you, it works great. Yeah.
There's a medical way of saying this.
Don't ask your husband when you get home.
So do you normally take the probiotic on an empty stomach?
No, that's what I'm saying. No, you don't take it. It doesn't work. You have to take it with food. It's alive. You have to feed it.
Yeah.
You want to send it down with a prebiotic, with something food with. That's what I'm saying. You need to have something that you can digest and absorb with.
Okay.
And so it has to be able to ferment those and land on them and eat them. You know, not a lot. You know, eat some fruit with it, or some vegetables, or yogurt, banana.
Okay.
You know, it's all stuff that it'll grow on and transform and help your body.
Right.
That's kind of stuff that works for that.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
You mentioned the feminizing of men. You haven't mentioned the big T word, testosterone, and how one deals with erectile dysfunction.
I've never seen it speechless. Oh my
As a
God.
woman, I can ask that.
Yeah. I do hormone replacement in my practice a lot. Yeah, I
Okay,
give them-
take a
I
deep
give them
breath.
testosterone, but also zinc helps boost testosterone. Zinc will boost testosterone by about 25%. You know, if you give zinc. So I always give
For
zinc
that
with
one.
my testosterone patients.
What
They're all various patches, so I don't do the injectables, but, you know, there's Trojas you can put in your mouth, there's patches, you know, Androderm, Testone, there's all different ones. They all work fine, you know. You just have to be careful. What you want to do is you want to keep them in physiological range. So in other words, they come to you that testosterone is low. You don't want testosterone to go high, you want it to be in the normal range. And then they won't have any side effects from it. That works very well. You know, replace it that way. You know, a lot of erectile dysfunction is because of atherosclerosis. You know, it's basically a hardening of the arteries in the penis. And so a lot of it's hard, a lot of men have a hard time correcting it as they get older because of that reason. So even when you give them testosterone and stuff, yeah, it does help their libido, but it doesn't help their erectile dysfunction very much, most of them, you know, unless they have really profound low levels of testosterone. So, you know, you have to take it from there, but, yeah.
When you're talking about healthy eating, everyone's getting into healthy eating now. I just started a process where I do 2 shakes a day
Of what?
of, I use Arbonne products. Have you ever heard? And it's basically a natural, but like one of my doctors says, is it FDA approved? No, it's not. But it's vegan, and not that I am a vegan, because I'm not. But I've learned to cut meat out of my system, except maybe once a week. I eat, so I have 2 shakes a day. I eat a lot of vegetables during the day, guacamole, salsa, hummus that I make. And then at night I have one basic meal. How do you feel about shakes, or how do you feel about healthy eating?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm all about, healthy eating.
Right,
You
that's
know,
what I
but,
mean.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
shakes depends what they're made with. I don't know that particular company, so I
Right.
really can't comment on it. But, you know, you don't have to buy a product. You can easily make it. Juicing works fine. You can juice your own stuff up and you can do it that way. And I think it would cost you a lot less. But you want to juice organic stuff. You don't want to juice up stuff that's not organic, because then you're absorbing that many more pesticides with it, you know? Yeah.
If your blood tests are always great, do you need vitamins?
Well, blood tests don't measure vitamins. You know, the blood test just measures your blood count and how your liver function and your kidneys function. It doesn't tell you anything about your vitamin content. You know, most foods are depleted, so I would take a multivitamin with minerals, with food, with fatty meal every day, because it really is no downside to it. It's
No.
cheap and they work very well. You know, vitamin C, I would, you know, there's certain things I would take every day. I take iodine, I take vitamin C, I take B complex, I take magnesium, I take selenium. There's different ones besides the mineral drink that I drink every day.
Vitamin
Yeah.
D.
Vitamin D. Well, I don't take it this time of year because I'm outside.
That sounds
Yeah.
like a lot of stuff.
It really, yeah. My wife always makes fun of me, but it is.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's not, you know, it's all because there's certain things I want to make sure I have, you know. Zinc is the other one I take, because if you take zinc, iodine, magnesium, and selenium, you're covering like 600 enzymes that your body needs, and you're making sure they get all of those. And they have no downside to them, you know. You know, you're not taking massive quantities. I mean, you can overdo it with vitamins, fat soluble ones. Well, interesting, during the polar explorers, the Perry actually, the North Pole, they were desperate and they hunted polar bear, and they ate the livers to the polar bear, and they almost all died. They got toxic from vitamin D and vitamin A, and they were hallucinating. It almost wiped out the expedition. So I mean, there is a downside to vitamins. You could overdo, for sure. You know, we don't have to. You can take minimal stuff, but take the right stuff. I mean, minerals and trace elements are just as important.
Two questions. One is,
That must have been fun to watch.
and Lyme disease. The outbreak of
Yeah, Lyme disease is hard. Lyme disease is a tough one, you know. All of those involve boosting your immune system, you know, to treat the Lyme. You just have to get it, and I have a whole section, that's a whole part of the book about boosting your immune system. Things like astaxanthin, 6,000 times more powerful than vitamin C. That's what gives the color to krill and lobsters and shrimp. That's what astaxanthin is. Great stuff for you. You know, there's little things that you can take to boost your immune system. I would take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C twice a day as a minimum of it. And as soon as you get sick, bump that up in stages. until you get diarrhea. When you get diarrhea, you know it's taking too much. But that works great. Your body, you can do it. We know your body's absorbing it because they can measure the output of it. Since it's water soluble, we can test the urine on patients and see if they're spilling it out. And you can see people that are really sick, you're giving them 10,000, 15,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, and they're not spilling any in their urine because the body needs it to fight off the illness. I mean, one of the earliest books I read in high school that got me into all this stuff was Linus Pauling, his book of vitamin C and cancer. I started reading that and just was fascinated by it. And the work on vitamin C is just great. Cathcart, another guy named Levy, has done a lot of work on this. They've treated cancer with a huge dose of vitamin C for any kind of infectious disease. Vitamin C is less toxic than water. It has no toxic dose. No one's ever died from a vitamin C overdose, ever. Water, you can drink a lot of and kill yourself. But vitamin C is the most non-toxic thing on the planet, and every cell needs it. And like I said, it's water soluble, you pee out the excess. But your body is screaming for it because that's the stuff when we developed in the jungle, in the jungle environment, it was replete with vitamins. Sunshine, vitamins, minerals from the plants, and tons of vitamin C from all the fruits and stuff they were eating from the jungle itself. And that's what we developed, and we moved out of that environment and moved to Europe and Asia and different spots, and the environment changed. And people, but if you look at all the cultures that came before us, people always, even in most cold northern climates and stuff, fermented foods. That was their way of taking foods. Fermentation releases all the nutrients in foods. Even little things like bread, for example. Leavened bread is just flour and water. And they realized they covered this up, put it somewhere, wild yeast would grow in it, and it would rise, and they would get leavened bread. Unleavened bread is just the same thing, flour and water, but they cook it right away before the yeast gets in, and that's why it stays flat and doesn't rise. But the breads we have now are garbage, absolute garbage. Ezekiel bread and other stuff is good for you because that contains sprouted bread. And what you do is, see, all wheat and all the grains that we use to make bread and stuff has anti-nutrients in it. It has stuff in it to protect the seed from germination. So they stay in the seed and they're toxins. And so if an animal ate those seeds, it would get sick. So that's what nature does to keep it from eating those seeds. But what it does is, once you put water on them and stuff, it dissolves it, you sprout them, that releases the anti-nutrients. It takes them off of there. And the nutrients are made available to the seed so they can sprout. And that's when, so if you take sprouted bread, is what they always did until recently, thousands of years, that bread was super healthy for you because it was sprouted and it had all the nutrients in it. It didn't lose any of the stuff that it can't become. Interesting thing happened in Turkey. In the 1960s, they had an outbreak of dwarfism. They were like, what the hell is this? The scientists looked at it and said, well, it must be genetic. Well, it wasn't genetic because it was only happening in poor neighborhoods. And they finally realized what was happening was they were eating unleavened bread, and they had a diet that was devoid of a lot of minerals, zinc, especially, and trace elements, and it caused dwarfism. And how they cured it was they gave them leavened bread, and they gave them mineral supplement that stopped their outbreak of dwarfism in Turkey. So you can see how important that stuff is. The bread we're eating, it has anti-nutrients in it. It has stuff that prevents it. It's not good for you. It's bad stuff, and it's full of starches, that your body doesn't want. Unnatural starches, Your body is...
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. So just get rid of bread altogether.
No, you can eat sprouted bread. Sprouted bread's great for you. Ezekiel bread, it tastes wonderful. Right, you'll never go back to regular bread, once you taste that.
So, related to the dwarfism, I read an article not long ago about in Finland how there's this big outbreak of diabetes in kids. And then they tried to, look at other cultures, this and that, and they found this community in Russia that had no diabetes. Okay, so here's Finland with all this diabetes from Nowheresville, and this one, and it's like you brought up earlier, the bacteria, because they're so clean. Everything is so sanitized. Your food's sanitized. You have Santa wipes everywhere, and now they know a speck of dirt never hurts.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, mothers, you have these anal mothers who go around following their kids, spraying everything. Those kids have severe allergies, severe asthma, because their immune system never gets a chance to develop. The healthiest kids were farm kids who were rolling in the dirt, playing with animals. Those were the kids that had no allergies, no asthma, no problem like that, because their immune system developed properly. It developed like you were made to develop. Your body has a great immunity. Disease is just a failure of the immune system, almost every time. And so that basically, if you provide the right things to it, and part of the right things is dirt. Let the kid roll around in the dirt. It's not gonna hurt him. You know?
Washes off.
You can pick a dirt before you die.
Right, there you go, right.
That's what I learned when I was a kid.
Right. Dirt, you look fine rolling in the dirt playing, right?
You said you have to eat a pack of dirt.
It's just that. Yeah, but some of the
Now we have
things.
these sprays you put on, you take away the good bacteria. Crazy.
The bacteria in the skin's fine, it's not
It's
hurting anything.
ridiculous.
What you're doing, you're right, you're killing off the good one and you're allowing
Wash
bad stuff
yourself
to
in
grow.
water and you'll get rid of the what you need to get rid of.
Right, right. You don't need to go spraying everything, cover your kids up.
I substitute kids, and they come up to a teacher's desk because they wanna get that white
Right,
off
it's
their
madness,
hands.
you know?
I can see a few cases where that.
Very seldom.
Well, if you're in a hospital or something, you know, the nurses and different things in the hospital don't
But
like
they,
to do that.
they overdo everything.
Right. Well, there's a thing called the immune cascade. You can boost your immune system quite simply using 4 different vitamins. A guy named Les Packard developed this at the University of California. And what it is that he realized that vitamin C and glutathione regenerate each other, and CoQ10 and vitamin E regenerate each other. CoQ10 is fat soluble, as is vitamin E. Glutathione and vitamin C are water soluble. But above them both was alpha lipoic acid. That's phenomenal for your body and your immune system. Every cell in your body needs alpha lipoic acid and a receptor for it in every cell. So there's a reason. Alpha lipoic acid is the only thing I ever heard of that's both fat and water soluble. So it crosses the blood-brain barrier, it crosses into every cell because your body needs it. And so what that does is, if you take alpha lipoic acid on top, then you take vitamin C. You can't take glutathione because it gets eliminated from your body right away. But you take the other 4. You take alpha lipoic acid, vitamin C, CoQ10, and vitamin E, and that supercharges your immune system. So that's a good way to do that if you feel like yourself coming down with something. You know, that'll work to provide your body with everything it needs.
How do those things work in conjunction with medications, for example, for cardiac problems and blood pressure?
No problem. Doesn't affect it.
Doesn't affect them?
No, immune system doesn't affect that at all. There's no salts in it or anything that would raise your blood pressure. There's nothing in it. You know, it's actually good. In fact, CoQ10, if you take any statins, anyone out here, things that lower your cholesterol, which I'm not a big fan of because your body needs cholesterol big time. You can't make any of the hormones it needs without cholesterol. The whole cholesterol thing is way overblown. Unless your levels are super high, I would not take a statin to lower it, But I just want to say, statins do, one terrible thing they do is they deplete CoQ10. They block the production of CoQ10 in the body. And so that's why you get muscle aches from statins. People go, oh man, they're on Crestor, they're on Lipitor, and they go, oh my God, my legs, my back, you're depleting of CoQ10 there. So if you give them CoQ10 with it, it eliminates that or prevents it a lot of times.
That's why that alpha.
Alpha lipoic acid.
That's where you can ask for that?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sometimes it's called lipoic acid, the real name is alpha lipoic acid. What were you saying?
So the Crestor may be the reason that with exercise,
Oh, yeah.
I get muscle aches.
Right, because CoQ10 is required by cells that are active. Your heart requires the most of it. That's why statins can lead to heart attacks sometimes. You never hear about that,
No.
It depletes CoQ10, so it's bad for your heart, but it's also bad for your muscles, which are active. And so that's why you get muscle aches with it, So it's bad stuff, The studies that they're based on the cholesterol were not very impressive originally,
Well, how do you know how much is too much cholesterol?
Well, it depends. You gotta look at the whole spectrum. You gotta look at triglycerides, you gotta look at HDL, the whole pattern there and see what you have. You want high HDL and you want low triglycerides.
Yeah.
Triglycerides are, I find, are most commonly caused, other than hereditary symptoms that affect it, are most commonly caused by our diet. Junk food is full of triglycerides. And so if you take them off processed food, their triglyceride levels plummet. They'll do fine without it, Certain people do, I put a significant number of patients on statins by giving CoQ10 with it. And I stress the importance. I try not to use it that much. I tell them not to worry about it. They're so anal about it. Oh my God, my cholesterol, big deal. I got patients the other day, new patients, in their 80s, and our cardiologist was giving her a statin. What, are you crazy? This lady's fine. She's never had a problem her whole life. Now her muscles are killing her. I said, go off it. No, I shouldn't go off it. You'll be fine.
The
efficacy of vitamins. I've heard reports lately that there's very little monitoring, production control. A lot of the vitamins claim to be effective, but the tests, I think, in some reports are used. How do we deal with that?
You're absolutely right. There is no testing of vitamins. When they test them, they find that some of them contain 1/10 of what they should, or
Exactly.
excess. They're way off on it. I mean, the best way to do that is to get your vitamins from your food. You know, grow the food and get it from that, you know.
But how do you know?
Only
6% of them are third-party tested, which means they're pharmaceutical 6%.
Right. And so, you try to get the best brands. I use a lot of Life Extension Foundation.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah. Life Extension Foundation is probably the best vitamins out there. It's a great organization. Any of the ones, Life Extension Foundation? Oh, it's fabulous, fabulous. They do their own research. They've been doing it for 30 years, 40 years. And although they didn't answer my letter, so I'm kind of pissed at them. They had a section on aphthous ulcers in their mouth, and they were saying all these different ways to treat it. Aphthous ulcers in your mouth, canker sores, are only a consequence of zinc deficiency. I've cured them for 30 years in my practice, giving people zinc lozenges. The best thing, I had an endocrinologist. We were having dinner one night, and because we're married, we talked about this stuff. And aphthous ulcers came up. I'm sure you guys talked about that too. But he was telling me how he was from Syria. He was telling me how he'd gone all over the world. He went to London, he went to New York, Boston. No one could fix his aphthous ulcers. I said, it's a zinc deficiency. And he was nodding, and he knew he didn't believe me. So I sent him a box of zinc lozenges. A month later, he called me up because I can't believe it. So one day they were gone. I told you, man. But what they do typically is they tell you you have an infection, they hit you with antibiotics. It's the exact wrong thing. The mucosa in your mouth is having problems developing from zinc. The same way I treat eczema. People with eczema and psoriasis, I give them high dose omega-3 fatty acids. I give them zinc, and I give them vitamin D. And it clears up rapidly. I tell them to go out in the sun. And it helps their skin, because it gives the skin all the things it needs to develop. If your body doesn't have these things to develop, that development is faulty, and a lot of that disease is not really a consequence of other things. You could throw chemicals at it and maybe correct it, but the best way is to treat the underlying problem and correct that. And then everything downstream from it falls in. That's why I can't stress to you enough about you gotta do the right foundation of foods and minerals and trace elements, and then work from there. Yeah, things will come up, you'll still get problems. I'm not saying you'll be, disease-free the rest of your life, but they'll be a lot easier to quick, and you can treat them using your head, using natural stuff, and try to say, okay, what's causing this, and how could I best treat it? And there's knowledgeable doctors out there that know how to do this stuff. You say something? I don't think I can. Yes?
Again, your talk tonight about what would happen if this goes down, what we should know and so forth. You're talking a lot about nutrition, and I'm just wondering in your book if there are under chapters in terms of, the responsibility coming on to us in the event that something did happen in a worldly way, and if you address that.
Yeah, I do. In the beginning, the first section there's 4 sections really, 5 sections. The first section is what I've been talking about right now. How to, the foundation of health, the things you need to keep your body healthy. The second section is about the tools I've used, DMSO, honey, pinnacle, all that stuff. The third section is the biggest section of the book. The book is 900 pages. Is basically it's called "What's Your Problem?" And it's a head-to-toe treatment. It starts off with headaches, concussion, and works its way right down to athlete split. And in each section, I first teach, because it's best to empower a patient, tell them what they. So in each section, I start with the anatomy and show you what it is, and then show you what can go wrong with it. And then I give you not 1 or 2, I give you 10 or 20 ways to treat each one. So that way, in a grid-down situation or a survival situation, you don't have access to Amazon. You just call up your local pharmacy. You can run and get this stuff. So you have this way. You have choice. Okay, I can treat it with this. I can do this with it. And so that's what the whole book is based on. That type of thing. And then in the end, the final section is how to make your own medicine chest. That's long, and it's A to Z, all the things you need to potentially treat any problem that came up. And so that way you have all the stuff you need there. Yeah.
When you were talking about canker sores and stuff, how about blocked saliva glands?
That's hard. You have to massaging them helps a lot to get. Usually there's a stone in there or something blocking it. So you have to, usually it's parotid stuff, you get massages and stuff, you'll taste it in your mouth and stuff. But that's a mechanical thing, it's a little more difficult, to see why, but usually you find out that it's, a problem with saliva production overall. I mean, it's slowing down, and when you wind up getting mineralization in the canal and stuff. And so, you have to, hydration's key too. Hydration is key to health. You gotta drink fresh water, from natural sources. Alkaline water is fine for you and stuff. It's really expensive. They have in the stores. Add a little baking soda to it. It works great. Baking soda also works phenomenal for heartburn. You put baking soda, throw in a glass of water, drink it down, you're done. Takes it right away. Getting rid of the acid in your stomach, It's really not good to stay on these crevices, gas effexes, and protoxins and stuff. Your body needs that acid in your stomach as part of digestion. You're taking that away, and that also leads to intestinal problems because now you're having stuff much more alkaline than it should be entering in your intestine, acidic than it should be entering in your intestine. And so all these things are important for health, H. pylori is a big problem. There was the doctor who discovered H. pylori was a country doctor in the outback in Australia, and people were dying of ulcers, and he was a one-man show. He would do autopsies on them and stuff, and he kept throwing out H. pylori from his ulcers. So he wrote a paper. He went to an international conference with all GI specialists. He was an internist like me. He got there, and they were all like, they just ignored the guy completely. Then the guy was so frustrated, he went home and he cultured H. pylori and he drank it, and then he got an ulcer. Then he went back and he went, wow. And that changed all the thinking on it, Because a lot of times, I hate to say it, my colleagues we're lockstep and stuff. They're afraid of being sued, they don't want to go outside the box. They don't care what happens, just go in, we're going to do certain things. You gotta really, you owe it to the patients to think outside the box and try to find ways to help them cure these things,
You were emphasizing hydration, but I recently read that the 8 glasses a day is almost like a myth,
Yeah,
based on
that's
very
myth.
dubious 1935.
Right.
What would you?
I'd say you get most of your hydration from your food.
Okay.
Fruits and vegetables are mostly water. And that's the best way to get it. And then drink spring, mineral water and spring water yourself. That's clean. And hydrate yourself with that. But that's the best way to get it.
My last question, why aren't more doctors like you and Dr. Hill?
We went to school in Italy, me and Dr. Hill.
Well, I mean, I've searched long and hard to find a doctor that believes in natural products as a substitute or as an alternative to try, and if that doesn't work, then go the prescription route. So it's, I just think it's great that we have this support, so.
I cannot fight bronchitis. I get it terrible. And
I'm assuming you're not a smoker.
I don't smoke.
Okay, I just want to before we went on any further there.
How can you recover from that better?
Well, once again, like I said earlier, disease is a failure of the immune system. You have to boost your immune system to get rid of that. So you have to provide your body with the right nutrients and stuff and things that will help your lungs. And fresh air, it's good. Where we live here is fine. The air here is decent, But, you also have to make sure you hydrate yourself too. A lot of bronchospasm, if your airways tighten up, is from dehydration. And as you get older, your thirst mechanism declines. So you don't feel thirsty like when you're a young man or a young woman. And so consequently, you go all day without drinking. I have old patients come in all day, always dehydrated. They go, I feel fine, I'm not thirsty.
And then it turns into pneumonia,
Right. So the way to tell if you're adequately hydrated is to stick your tongue out in the mirror. If your tongue's not wet, you're not hydrated. You gotta make sure your tongue is wet. If you look in the mirror and it looks like sandpaper, you got a problem. Because how your body gets rid of toxins is, it binds them to proteins or it dissolves them and sends them out in your urine. And so, particularly amino acids and other things. But in that way, that's how it detoxifies things in your liver and sends them out. So you have to, give your body the right sources. If you're not, like gout, for example, frequently comes around from high uric acid levels, because uric acid is a waste product. I always use the analogy of Kool-Aid. Remember as a kid, you would get a packet of Kool-Aid, rip it open, throw it in a full glass of water, stir it up, what happens? It all disappears. Get half a glass of water, throw the same packet in there, stir it up, what happens? It precipitates out in the bottom. That same precipitation is what uric acid does in your blood. It precipitates out into your joints and you get gout. You get that gouty pain. So the first thing I have a gout patient do is titrate themselves big time, dilute that down and get rid of that. So there's natural things you can do right away to treat a lot of things, but hydration is key for you. And I can't stress enough, as you get older, you're not going to feel thirsty. Keep your eye on your tongue. keep looking at that tongue in the mirror, and that'll tell you. You know? Yeah.
Hey, it's been a very informative talk, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I want to know how you came up with the name Doomsday Book of Medicine.
My wife. No. I'll tell you a funny story. On the back,
You're right.
On the back, I'm not smiling. My wife.
I hate that picture,
She
dude.
complains about this. I said,
Hate
it's
it.
a doomsday book. I can't be smiling there.
You took a great picture. I want that picture for the next book. No, I took
I did?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
looking over at
Yeah.
you. I want that picture.
I'll send it to you.
You know,
Okay.
I just was thinking about what to call it. I worked on it for hours, and I have this big. She has this big cushiony chair. I was sitting in the dark, and those things come to me. I was like, what a good day.
Yeah, my great-grandfather wrote a book called Our Plundered Planet in
Oh, really?
1938, and it's about the
wonderful.
soil depletion
What's his
in
name?
the United States. William Henry Osborne. Yeah, and so it was interesting
I
because
have
it
that.
showed about the
look
soil
that up.
depletion and
Oh,
like
yeah.
cross
That's when they first started ringing
the
the
Dust Bowl,
Right,
cropping
right.
like that. It's a very interesting book.
Right, that's great.
I'd
Well, he was ahead of his time.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Plundered
Yeah,
Planet. I don't know
isn't
if
that
it's still in
wonderful?
print.
I think I have a copy of that.
We'll,
think I
we
do. I'm
will
gonna
get
look.
it. We'll get it if we can find it. You remember that?
It's
Write that
not
down.
going to be very expanded. It's not going to be very different from it. It's basically it's just a rewrite of it because my publisher said that the prepping crowd was much smaller than the alternative medicine crowd. So he said this doomsday thing scares them. And so I made it touchy-feely.
It sounds.
I took out all my hateful stuff in it.
It's a little bit of hateful stuff in there, yeah. You took it out. And we're gonna use,
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
and we're gonna use his picture for the back. He's took a nice picture.
I talk a lot, I write a lot.
It's been an hour and a half.
One of the other things I talk about in the books is
Oh, okay.
essential oils.
Oh,
Essential
yeah.
oils are fabulous for you. Essential oils are secondary plant metabolites. That's what a plant makes to communicate with other plants, is what it does to repel animals and different things. And those nutrients are so good for you. We've evolved, co-evolved with plants for millennia. And that co-evolution caused us, there's a thing in your liver called the cytochrome P450 system. That's how we detoxify things. Well, that system was made basically to detoxify toxic plant metabolites, like essential oils and stuff, that the toxic part of them. And so our bodies were able to assimilate them and get the good from it and excrete it and get rid of it. And so essential oils are fabulous for you, and they have no side effects really for the most part, because your body, it's something your body recognizes. It's not a foreign thing to it, it's what we co-evolved with. Lots of plants and bacteria have been in this game together from the beginning, and just in the last century, we're turning on the plants and the soils and the bacteria in the soils in our bodies, and the consequence is all these chronic diseases that people are developing. So essential oils, I mean, straight lavender oil, geranium, tea tree. Tea tree is cool. It came from, you know the name tea tree?
Melaleuca.
What?
Melaleuca.
Melaleuca. You know what the name came from?
It's an Australian.
You're getting close. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go there because this is my forte. I studied gas chromatography of essential oils, so.
Captain Cook, when he landed on Australia, one of the first
Yeah,
trees he found, he was desperate for tea, he made tea from it.
It is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tea tree oil works great for it, you know, it's great for antifungal. Most essential oils will kill bacteria, funguses, viruses.
They don't want that yet. We're like, okay, we're gonna have to wrap it up. All right. Any questions?
Coconut's great. Coconut's a great carrier oil. So a lot of essential oils, a lot of them you can't apply to your skin.
You wouldn't.
Diluted, you need something to carry them. Of course, you use coconut oil, jojoba, different things.
Jojoba.
Jojoba, right. Coconut oil it has medium chain triglycerides, which is great for your body. It actually promotes weight loss because it takes more metabolic activity to digest them. And that crosses the blood-brain barrier. It's great for your brain. It's great for everything. Internally. Yeah, coconut oil is fabulous. You have to use organic coconut oil. You can't cook with it. You know, it destroys it. Cooking destroys it.
Kind of talk about your book. People are asking about prices and stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if you want the book, it's here. We have a discount today of $35. Usually it's $45.
All right, great. If anybody wants a book signed.